Good morning, everybody. Welcome in to the live stream. It is another bullish day in the crypto bull market, folks. Exciting times. And I am excited to go through the data with you guys, go through the different signals, talk about what is going to happen next. And obviously, we're going to continue to update our thesis accordingly. But, guys, the macro thesis we've been talking about for the past couple of years. We are in a macro bull market for all assets that are following global liquidity. Of course, our biggest bet is on crypto because it's the fastest horse in the asset race. And despite the doomers, the naysayers, the flip-floppers, and whatever else, the bears trying to shake us out, we're still here and we still got more to go. All right, we got here Balayika, if I'm saying that right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Tony, for all the content. Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for joining. E-Tron, good morning. Great to have you. Our own trauma, good morning from the East Coast. Great to have you. Michael Carter on X, GM, welcome in. Yeah, our own trauma says hit the button for Bitcoin's new all-time high. Michael Carter says H-bar to $1.22. I hope so, my friend. I think there's a strong possibility there. Josh Clark, good morning. Welcome in. Guys, hit the thumbs up button on the way in. Smash the thumbs up button, the heart button, wherever you're watching and listening. We're streaming on YouTube, of course, X, Kick.com, Rumble, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook. We're broadcasting on multiple platforms, even Instagram, trying to get the message out there about crypto and all the great things that are happening. Obviously, we're going to go through charts. We're going to talk about some of the big news items, and I'll answer your guys' questions, of course. Happy to pull up charts for you guys and go through different coins, talk about anything you would like as it relates to the markets. So we're going to give another minute or so for people to get into the stream and so they get the notifications. Hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's having a good Monday so far. I know some of you, maybe another day already, right? It could be the evening for you and or whatever it is. We're all in different parts of the world. All right, we'll give another minute. Just let people get into the stream and we can kick it off. Josh Clark says, thank you for your time, Tony. I'm currently at work and hard to stay tuned in, but wanted to say right quick, H-bar. Yeah, absolutely, Josh. Thank you for tuning in. I know some of you are at work, and yes, I am bullish on H-bar, and we're going to go over that chart for sure. Our own trauma says, people have been having issues with Robinhood app today. Did you hear anything about that today? You know, I didn't. I didn't hear anything about that, but I'll check the X news feed to see what's going on. Merlin says, good morning. BCB scaring me. Laugh out loud. Oh, man. Let's see. We got Paulo. Great to have you. Evening for you. 1702 from the Netherlands. Great to have you, Paulo. Pompey Lil says, give us some good news. Yeah, I definitely will. Thank you for tuning in. Pascal says 5 in the afternoon. Good day. Great to have you, Pascal. All right, guys, let's kick it off. Once again, smash the thumbs up button, the heart button, the like button, wherever you're watching and listening. Make sure you're subscribed as well. So, folks, I think it's no secret. We saw Bitcoin over the past week pump, pretty significantly. Huge green candles on the daily chart here. Very bullish, right? So we have bullish confirmation because we broke the all-time high. Over the weekend, we hit over $125,000. That's very bullish. But I'll point you to the downside of this chart here, which is the RSI, right? You see it's entering the overbought zone, which is 70 and above. So we are going to possibly see, and I say possibly because I don't have a crystal ball, but based on the fundamentals, the data and the signals, I can only say, here's what the textbook says, right? So when you hit 70 and above, it is then entering into the overbought zone, right? So remember, we were in the oversold zone and people were crying that the market's over, right? It's bear market. And I was like, no, guys, no, look, we're going to bounce from the oversold zone to the overbought. I have the receipts. All my episodes are published on YouTube. You can go look at them, right? So I don't say that to boast. I'm just saying that to teach you guys, to educate you, so you understand how to navigate this market. So if I'm not here, you know what to look at. You can go to TradingView and look at the RSI. You can look at the MACD and much more. It's about education. It's about you guys becoming empowered so that you can navigate the stock market, the crypto market, and make money, right? And get yourself some financial freedom. We're not here for fun and games. I know many of you have financial goals. So do I. I have skin in the game. I have things I want to do. So we don't have time for conspiracy theories and fairy tales. We want to look at the data and make sure we're doing the best that we can and be as educated as possible. So the RSI approaching the overbought zone, or is in the overbought zone because it's over 70. It's not super overheated, but again, after a big move like this, you can anticipate some sort of pullback. Now, when I say that, people's minds automatically go to bear market. I'm not talking about bear market. I'm talking about Bitcoin coming back and retesting 120K or 118K and find the bottom there and then bounce, right? So please understand what I mean by that, because you get a lot of people who get triggered. They get so emotional. Like, what? Are you talking about pullback? Are you crazy? Like, dude, markets don't go up in a straight line, right? And then if you look at the MACD, a good sign on the daily is that the bulls are in control. You see the green lines here, and there's solid green lines. So all great. I do believe Bitcoin has a next target of about 132K. At that point, we could see a local top. It may overshoot that and go to 135. We'll have to wait and see. I will be taking profits on Bitcoin at 135K, by the way. I had that price target set for a while, going back months and months. And then, my next one will probably be like 145, then 150 and things like that. I'm slowly laddering out, taking profits, right? I'm selling into pumps. I'm selling into euphoria. I'm not selling into fear. If you're selling into fear, you're doing it wrong. You're panic selling. So let's take a look at a bit of a higher time frame here. The weekly chart, which I know some people have been going nuts about the weekly chart. Oh my God, it's over, right? And I was telling you guys, wait a minute. You can't just look at the weekly. You got to look at the daily and the monthly to confirm what's happening on the weekly. So what we're seeing is on the weekly, the RSI is not overheated. There's room to run here, similar to what the pump we saw in Q4 of 2024, right? You see it's in the green. Look at my mouse cursor, right? Now, so we have room to run here. This thing could get even more overheated. It could go into the overbought zone. But the important thing here is the MACD. Look at that. It's flipping from bearish to bullish. I know the green candle is hard to see on the chart right now. Let me see if I can expand this thing. But the lines are crossing here and the red candles have diminished and it's turning green. So bulls grabbing control on the weekly. Okay, let's look at the other time frame, the higher time frame of the monthly. Notice we're looking at multiple views, not one, so we don't have tunnel vision for one. We want to be educated here, right? So the monthly obviously is a super high time frame, and look at the RSI on the monthly. It is nowhere near that green zone we've seen in the previous tops. So look at 2017, look at 2021, look at where we're at now. Nowhere close. So we got room to go here. And look who's in control. Is it the bears? Nope, it's the bulls. Solid green trend line, candles here, if you want to call them that. So the data is telling us bulls are in control and there's more upside. So avoid the panicking, avoid the flip-floppers, just use the data. Now, that's not to say a black swan event can't come around and change everything we're looking at here, but what are you going to do? A black swan event, no one can predict that. That's just how things happen, right? Just look at C19 that happened in 2020. But one thing's for sure is that the governments, they continue to debase the currency. They will continue to print because, as I've stated many times, they can't let the collateral go to zero, or people will be out in the street rioting if they've lost trust in the currency and the markets, and they are fighting each other for food. Right, guys? We got to be smart here and understand what's at play. So with currency debasement and the injection of liquidity, what are we seeing? A big indicator that has been leading the market and showing us that we still have upside is global liquidity. If your favorite analyst is not telling you or showing you this one metric in addition to others, they are doing you a disservice, right? We want to look at everything, guys. You can't just look at a handful of things and have a bias around one or two things. So I'm giving you the full lay of the land. Obviously, I don't want you to follow me like a cult. I want you to look at different and listen to different people, have different point of views. It is so important to do that because no one is right all the time. And there are things, we're all human, so we miss things. So global liquidity continues to be a leading indicator here. It is driving the crypto market, the stock market, the precious metals market, and real estate. So if you're wondering why real estate valuations and houses have been up in value despite people not selling, and it's almost been dead from a mortgage standpoint because people are holding on to those low rates from 2020, it's because global liquidity is going up and the prices of assets are being adjusted. So crypto's following it. Of course, the stock market, we've been seeing the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, all hitting new all-time highs. Not to mention gold. Gold continues to rip. Let's just look at that, right? So why are all these assets going up in conjunction? Yes, they have their turns. There's a rotation of liquidity from gold to the stock market to crypto and so on and so forth. It's all following global liquidity. So you need to make sure you have that as your macro thesis, your fundamental, your foundation, right? Because if you don't understand that, it's a big part of the investing world that you're missing. So shout out to Raoul Pal and the folks at Global Macro Investor who really figured this out over the past couple of years, and it absolutely makes sense. And if you look at the data, you'll see it as well. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So it's very interesting. Okay, so we have the foundational thesis. This is all following global liquidity. We have the signals on the daily, weekly, and monthly chart, the RSI and the MACD confirming bulls are in control and we're still in the bull market. Now, let's look at total 3. This is what a lot of you care about because it's the altcoin market. This excludes Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins. So there's no muddying of the waters from those larger assets, which sometimes move on their own, right? This includes XRP, Cardano, Solana, and much more, where we are seeing some nice movements here. As Bitcoin starts to cool down, what happens? Rotation of liquidity from Bitcoin to the altcoin market. So we're going to want to watch this, and we're seeing some uptrend movements here. One thing to call out, if we look at the RSI, it has room to run here. It is nowhere near overbought. So we could see as Bitcoin starts to cool down and has a little pullback to test support levels, rotational liquidity to the alts, they start catching up, right? I hope you guys are seeing the cyclical pattern here and why you have to be patient and why you have to, even if you don't hold Bitcoin, you want to watch what Bitcoin's doing. Use it as the measuring stick because the capital flows into Bitcoin. This is how the whales and the market makers operate. I don't make the rules. I'm just sharing the facts. Okay. Now, so total 3, RSI shows more room for upside here, and the MACD bulls are in control. This is on the daily chart now. So again, more confirmation. We are in a bull market and we still got room to run here. Now, as Bitcoin has been taking the lead, right? Bitcoin dominance has started to move up, but this is short-lived, right? It's going to pump up a bit, then break down, just as it has been doing in the previous rally, right? Pump up, break down, pump, break. And you may say, well, Tony, look at this, Bitcoin dominance is breaking down. Isn't this a red flag that maybe the top is in? Well, every rally we've seen so far, like Q4 in 2024, and even the one that we saw, in the middle of this year into August, we've seen the breakdown, but it's nowhere near the massive breakdown of the Bitcoin dominance we saw in 2021 as well as 2017, right? So you see here a big difference, guys. Big difference. These look like tiny blips compared to the bigger down collapse of the Bitcoin dominance that we saw in the previous bull market. So more confirmation, right? Multiple data points we're looking at here. Now, USDT dominance. This is where the majority of the stablecoin liquidity comes from going into the crypto market. So we're seeing the breakdown as Bitcoin starting its run, and I expect it to continue to break down as the liquidity starts flowing into altcoins as well. So we're seeing confirmation. one of the things I've been highlighting is that once we break this 4% zone here, and then we break 3.7%, a lot of that's, I think, the run potentially. We'll have to adjust as we continue to, we'll have to monitor it as we get closer, but that could be the run to the blow off top. So we're going to monitor all these things. I will be sharing it with you because, like I said, I got skin in the game. I'm here to make money. I'm not here for games. I'm not here for nonsense, man. I want to cash out. I got debt to pay off. I want to spend some money, put some into retirement and much more. So I'm with all you guys, right? I am an average Joe. I'm not some multi-millionaire hedge fund guy. I am here trying to, gain some financial freedom and, get life-changing money, just like many of you. So that's another data point, right? Okay, you want more? Okay, I'll give you more. Bitcoin whale activity. Again, if your favorite influencer or whatever is not sharing these data points with you, ask them why. Why are you not looking at these things? So, on-chain data from Sentiment with wallets of 10 or more Bitcoin show whales continue to accumulate, folks. They continue to accumulate. And when this starts to break down, when they start selling, like, for example, they were selling into the tariff crash. Now, not all of them. There are long-term whale holders, and they're kind of your short-term guys, right? So a lot of them were selling into the tariff crash. You see the dip here. When we start to see this thing breaking down, folks, that is where we're going to have to, it's going to be one of the red flags, right? I'm going to be here, guys. Bitcoin whales are selling. So another data point. One of the recent data points I've been sharing with you guys is Bitcoin MVRV, right? So this is looking at Bitcoin's value, if it's above market value or below. Now, I know this is a complex metric. It took me a while to fully understand it, but it's essentially similar to the whale metric, where you're looking at these large traders. How are they playing the market? Because again, market makers and whales are the ones that are operating the market, right? So we're seeing Bitcoin move away from the neutral zone. So we're entering, or I should say, we have room to run here. So this is nowhere near the top we've seen before the price reverses. So this is a good sign. We got room to run, right? Because if you look at the Q4 MVRV score being way overheated, and then what happened? Big collapse, right? In the rally from April-ish into August-ish or into May and so forth, we see some of these peaks and valleys. So we're not close to some of these peaks here. We will be very soon. So that's why I'm saying for Bitcoin, expect a pullback, and maybe the run up to 132K, the next major target, is that local top. So I hope you understand why we're looking at these different metrics. All right, something else. Bitcoin Pi cycle top indicator. This signal has flashed. Specifically the 350-day moving average crosses the 111-day moving average, and it usually signals the top. So we're looking for these moving averages to see. Oops, I need to refresh it. We're looking to see this get close. As it starts getting closer, I'll be signaling, right? Guys, this is getting very close. We need to be prepared. So far, nowhere close, like we've seen in the past, right? So look at these. Look at 2013, 2014. Look at 2017. Look at 2020. And we are here now, and we're not even close. So these are things to keep in mind. Notice I've shared multiple data points with you, not just one, not just two. I'm repeating myself because I kid you not, the comments I get in the comment section, I have to keep repeating myself because they just don't grasp it sometimes, and they just hyper focus on a couple of things. So here's another example. Coinbase app rankings, right? In the previous bull markets, we've seen Coinbase enter the top 10 in the App Store. We've seen it enter to or hit the #1 position, right? We saw it in 2021 and so forth. We only saw that one time, and it didn't even enter the top 10, folks. It entered the top 20. This was in Q4. So how the hell could we have seen just as, as an example, the blow off top for the market, and we're in a bear market, if this thing hasn't even hit those zones yet, right? We haven't seen true euphoria yet. That's the point of this. And if we look at Google Trends, some people were calling the top, right? How the hell are we going to be in the top and Google Trends hasn't even broken the Q4 numbers from 2024? So these are the things I hope you guys understand what's at play here. Let me zoom. Look, we haven't even hit the 2020 levels. So please explain to me with all these different data points how we could be in a bear market, how the top of the market could have came in, right? And I understand there's a bearish scenario, but my point is I'm not ignoring the bearish scenario. I'm saying on the scale of bull or bear, there's clearly more factors saying we are in a bull market. So this is why we look at different points of views. Folks, hit the thumbs up button that we are still in a bull market and we're going to see higher highs, guys. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, the heart button, wherever you're watching and listening. Ryan, thank you for being a channel member, my friend. He says, we have not seen anything yet, not even close to euphoria. Absolutely, Ryan. Right? So the data backs it up. Please tell me where we've seen euphoria. The only thing that came sort of close was Q4, but that was a mix of Trump taking office, right? So all of these things are so important to look at, folks. The chart guys can't just say, look at the charts. You got to look at the macro data. You got to look at the sentiment data. You got to look at the on-chain data, right? Likewise, the on-chain guys can't just say, look at on-chain data. No, you got to look at the chart data. You have to look at the whole thing, or you're doing yourself a disservice. You're not getting a full lay of the land. You got to look at it holistically. So that's why I'm looking at all these data points and I'm just like, wait a minute. How the hell could the top be in? All of these things are not jiving. While one or two metrics may say, hey, possibly top may be in, what about the other 8 factors, right? They have to align in some way. And I understand there could be some lagging effect, right? Some signals may lag, but at the same time, if the other ones are screaming bull market and a couple is screaming bear market, something's wrong. You got to slow down and let it play out to evaluate better. Folks, before we continue, check out our sponsors, Uphold, great platform I've been using since 2018. They have 300 plus cryptocurrencies on their platform. You can buy, sell, trade crypto assets, Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, and much more. They offer staking on 20 plus crypto assets. They have a great rewards program where you can earn great yield on stable coins as well. And it's fully regulated, no BS, no shady business. So I'm a big believer and user of Uphold. Check out Trezor. I'm a user of the Trezor Safe 5 hardware wallet. You guys know for years I've been preaching self-custody is the safest way. So this is a device I use. They were the ones who pioneered and built the hardware wallet. They created the seed phrase setup. Their hardware wallets are open source and they support a variety of tokens, folks, all your top coins. And they even list like new tokens, like even BlackRock's BITL tokenized fund token is on here. So you can get a 5% off discount if you use my code ThinkingCrypto, all one word, ThinkingCrypto, 5% off your device. Check out Proppy. They're leading the charge of putting real estate on chain. I'm a Proppy token holder, have been since 2018, very bullish on this project. Tim Draper, billionaire investor Tim Draper, he is an investor. He's still bullish. Just the other day, he was involved with an event with Proppy and much more. So you can buy and sell real estate on Proppy using crypto. You want to sell your house for Bitcoin? You can do that. And they use Coinbase for the escrow service. They're tokenizing real estate, putting deeds on chain and much more. Also, check out VeChain, one of the top layer 1 enterprise blockchains getting huge adoption. They recently added staking via Stargate, and they've partnered with the UFC and Dana White. Dana White recently said he bought $1 million of VET token. So I'm a VET token holder. Many of you know that. I'm very bullish on this project, and they're working with a lot of big brands, guys, around the globe who are building Web3 technology. And also check out iTrust Capital. This is a unique way to invest in crypto, but also one of the safest ways to custody your crypto assets. So you can invest via an IRA, a self-directed IRA. and that gives you huge tax benefits, right? I think many of you know about that. You can roll over your existing IRA or 401k to this platform, and they have what's called a premium custody account, which leverages Fidelity digital assets, Coinbase custody, Fireblocks, and much more. So you're getting some of the most safest ways to custody your assets. Institutions are using these platforms, right? So check it out, guys. Great platform. And if you use my link, you can get $100 funding bonus. All right, folks, let's jump into some news. So, one of the other signals that we want to look at as to what's happening in the market, what's smart money? What are institutional investors doing? Are they dumping or are they buying? We've been seeing tons of buying. So crypto funds smash records with $5.95 billion inflows amid shutdown concerns. When the government shutdown happened, a lot of people were panicking. Oh my God, this is going to hurt the market. But no, the markets have been ripping. Why? Well, remember, the fiat system requires the continued printing of money. They have to continue to raise the debt ceiling. They have to keep funding their governments and their operations, right? There has never been a government shutdown that ended in the government being shut down forever. Think about it, right? The media will sell you fear and politicians will play the dog and pony show. But at the end of the day, they have to sign the check. They got to sign the check because what's the alternative? Keep the government shut down and then people rioting and fighting each other, or keep printing and let the music keep going, right? So you got to be reasonable and think logical about these things. Markets know this. Markets are forward looking. Markets know, guess what? They're going to have to print. They're going to have to cut rates. And that is great for assets. Whether you agree with what the hell is happening or you agree with the system, that is a whole separate topic. But the point is, markets are forward looking and they know, hey, they're not going to keep this shutdown going. Yes, it may last for a week or whatever, but they got to sign the check, right? They got to fund the whole thing. So this is why markets are ripping in the face of a government shutdown. Now, guys, this is massive. Grayscale launches staking for Ethereum and Solana ETPs in the US. We now have staking in ETFs. Massive win. We've been waiting for a long time for this, and the SEC has been ramping up their efforts. So this is why I've been saying there are major milestones coming up that are also a big factor as to why the bull market's not over. The approval of altcoin ETFs like XRP, Solana, and much more, in addition to staking, and the government, once they finish the shutdown, passing the Clarity Act, which is the landmark crypto legislation. So again, that does not jive with a bear market. That does not jive with the top being in. So if you're not looking at all these factors, you have a huge blind spot. So this is a huge win, folks. People will be able to stake in their ETFs and watch the inflows for the Ethereum ETF surge because you are now able to earn the yield. Now, I think once BlackRock gets it, Fidelity and much more, you're going to see that surge because they're going to market the hell out of it. But this is a massive win. And, Grayscale, they also got their top 5 ETF approved, which includes Bitcoin, Cardano, XRP, Solana, and much more. I had interviewed the head of research at Grayscale recently, so you guys can check out that interview. But massive news, folks. This is huge. Don't miss how big this is. So Grayscale, they mentioned it and much more. So again, wait till the big boys get it, like BlackRock and so forth. Now look at this. Billionaire Mike Novogratz, he's a Wall Street legend. He's, of course, very bullish on crypto. His firm, Galaxy Digital, they've supported institutional investors over the years. Well, they are launching a retail trading app to compete against Robinhood. Who the hell launches stuff like this in the bear market, right? You want to launch in a bull market, and it obviously helped their stock price. The other thing I want to highlight is a bunch of companies have been doing IPOs. So again, nobody does an IPO in a bear market. So this is interesting. I don't know how well they're going to do, but they're going to offer stocks and crypto, of course, on the platform. And they have an uphill battle to fight here because they're going up against Robinhood and huge behemoths that have huge brands and a great following. So let's see how they do. But competition is great. Competition's healthy for consumers. So I'm happy to see stuff like this. But this is a big on-ramp. And look at this news. Hong Kong listed China Financial Leasing to raise $11 million for crypto investment platform. So I've been on record, you guys know, saying Hong Kong is the testing bed for China. They're doing all their testing in Hong Kong because China controls Hong Kong. And then I believe they're going to move it over to the mainland China to open it up to their citizens. One of the things I've been saying is, China, they had banned crypto trading and much more because of the capital flight risk, but they don't want the capital leaving the country. Well, if they do it via the ETFs, ain't no capital leaving the country because the ETF wrappers are within that region, kind of like how the US ETFs, right? It's all regulated. Their version of the SEC is monitoring it and much more. So I believe China is going to open up the ETF investment to its mainland citizens. And that could be one of the big bull market catalysts for this rally to continue, right? So China Financial Leasing Group plans to raise $11.1 million through a share placement to fund the development of its crypto investment platform. The company's stock jumped 25% as of 2 p.m. on Monday in Hong Kong. So we are seeing on-ramps being built globally from people you wouldn't even think would be involved in crypto. But as we've talked a lot about, this asset class is here to stay. This is the technology that the future economies, markets, and governments will be running on. And we're starting to see the building out of the infrastructure. Some bullish Chainlink news. BNB Chain says they have integrated Chainlink data into their whole setup. So I'm bullish on Chainlink. You guys know that. We're seeing multiple blockchains, crypto native firms, and non-crypto firms using Chainlink. So they've really built an incredible technology and getting huge adoption. Look at this. Standard Chartered says $1 trillion may exit emerging market banks to stablecoins by 2028. I think this is on point. I think a lot of the banks are going to launch their own stablecoins. And, the United States is making a big push to have this done because we see that they want these. Oh, I got to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Had to sneeze there, guys. Oh, man. Sorry about that. Pardon me. So I think we're going to see an explosion of the stablecoin market. A lot of banks. I think the stablecoin market potentially has the ability to cross $1 trillion in late 2026 as the banks get involved. So big things are ahead, folks. So exciting. Again, we are still in the bull market. All right. I want to answer some of your guys' questions. Let's see here. Jenny from the blockchain says, have you seen the massive cup and handle on Link dating back to 2024? Yeah, I saw some people sharing that chart. And, my hope is that Link can cross $100 in this cycle. If we, let me take this off actually real quick here. If we use Fibonacci extensions here, Link has been looking really good. We're not far from the all-time highs of just over $50 or so. And my hope is this thing can run and cross $100. Now, will it, absolutely get there? I can't guarantee that, obviously, but I think there's a strong probability. Again, probability, keyword probability, right? I'm not saying certainty, probability that it gets there. We're not far from it. And it'd be awesome if it overshoots it and goes to the 2.618, which is $130, but we shall see. This is certainly one coin I'm very bullish on. Ryan says, I believe it can get there. Yeah, there's a lot happening for sure. Don 1994 says, where do you see Proppy going price-wise this cycle? Obviously not 100%. Okay. Yeah, sure. So I'm a Proppy token holder. So I could be a bit biased here, but, I'll try to keep my biasness to the side here. So let's look at the chart. Let me make sure I have the right chart here, because Coinbase was a bit late to list this coin. So I remember buying this on Bittrex back in the day, by the way. That's how long I've let's see, was Proppy. Oh, no, I'll use the Coinbase chart because that seems to be okay. let's see what's happening here. Okay, 20. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find the best chart here to do some analysis. So you guys know I'm a big believer in property. I'm a holder, and I am hoping we see. All right, let's just use this. Okay, so one of the good things we saw was that at the beginning of 2024, this was when Bitcoin was rallying, right? In Q1 into Q2, Proppy did pretty well. You can see here pumping significantly off the bear market bottom. That's a very, very good sign. However, since then, it showed a lot of weakness. If you look at Q4, it didn't even rally back up. So I'm not happy about that, right? And being fully transparent as a token holder, my hope is that as this market picks up, it can catch some of that strength again, and hopefully can crack, the $5 mark. That's and move up maybe to 6-ish. I don't know, but it's not showing a lot of strength right now, and that's what worries me a bit. So we're gonna have to see how things progress. And it could be that it got so overheated in that rally. But man, I would have loved to see more strength in Q4, but it is what it is at this point. Okay, let me back up a bit because I think I may have missed some other people in as I was chatting or talking. OJM89 says, love from Ireland, Tony. DCA'd into HBAR, 5 cents average buy price, and XRP 40 cents average buy price in 2022. I owe you a beer. Awesome, man. That's what I love to hear, that you bought in that bear market, because that's when I was buying too, right? You bought that bottom when people were afraid. And even though let's say HBAR has not hit new all-time highs, it's positioned to, right? And you're already up, because if you bought at 5 cents, you're already up. And that's the thing I try to remind people. You should be buying down here when everybody's afraid. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. Crypto's a scam. Oh no, it will never come back. FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried. And then what happens? People forget, markets continue, right? Global liquidity keeps rising, assets start following. So congrats, OJM. Because you're in profit right now. And of course, for HBAR, man, I am hoping for over $1 for, to get that going. And we're not far from it, from breaking that all-time high. So I think HBAR can do it. There's an ETF, a spot ETF in play. There's a lot of adoption happening. So I'm looking for $1 plus HBAR, guys. And that will make me very happy, man. I'll make some nice returns there. Frankie says, so excited, things gonna blow up. I can't wait for all the Bitcoin maxi tiers when XRP moons. Yeah, look, but remember, Frankie, right? Even if you don't like Bitcoin maxis and you're not a Bitcoin holder, we still need Bitcoin to do well because of the capital flow, right? How the market makers and the whales operate. So that's why Bitcoin has to have its day in the sun. Every dog has its day. We want as much liquidity to flow into Bitcoin, because how the thing operates, like I said, it then rotates down to altcoins like XRP and much more. So again, Bitcoin maxis can be annoying. You may not like them, and that's fine. But for Bitcoin as an asset, we want to see as much capital flow into that. Joe Campbell, great to have you from the Netherlands. Northumberland in the UK. Leo Messi, great to have you. Ryan says here, the world's largest bull run ever seen is unfolding right before our eyes. This is not once in a lifetime. This only happens one time. Hope you've been paying attention. Yeah, for sure, Ryan. This is one of those big moments for sure. It's what I started off the live stream with, that we are seeing the macro bull market for all assets, guys. So even if you're not in crypto, let's say you're one of just the average Joe and Jane out there, you're like, I don't know about crypto, but you're holding stocks, man, you're still up. You're holding gold, you're still up, right? We are seeing all these assets rip because it's all following global liquidity. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate that. Thanks, Flame. Great to have you, Gene. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan. Vatican says, do you think Tau will hit? I don't hold any Tau, but let's take a look and see. Maybe the Binance chart would be the best. $2,000, he said. Let me see if there's a USD chart here. It's BitSensor, right? Let's see Binance. Binance may have the longer history. You know, I tried to look for the chart that has the longest history, right? And obviously not every exchange lists these coins at the same time. So was this launched in 2024? It looks like it was launched in 2024. I don't know. It pumped significantly at the launch, if that's to be, if that data is correct. I mean, based on this analysis, it could hit 2,000, but I don't know much about this project. I don't know about the fundamentals. I don't know about the adoption. I don't know if there's an ETF. I don't know if there's digital asset treasury companies buying. So you have to take all these things into consideration because they do play a factor. But it's down significantly from that price point. As you can see here, you know, you want to see more strength, especially in the major rallies. Now, there was a bit of a rally from the bottom here in the Q4 bull run, but then it took it all back. But one could argue this is a nice double bottom, and we'll see where things go. But again, some of these coins, they kind of need the rising tide that lifts all boats liquidity that comes in, right? So this is where we want to keep monitoring total 3, as stated earlier, the rotational liquidity from Bitcoin and these the total market cap or the total altcoin cap just start going bonkers, and then some of these coins can catch up. Listic says the euphoria might not happen. I don't think so, Listic. I think it will, and here's why. I think with the setup of the Fed cutting more rates, plus Trump has been teasing that he wants to give people a stimulus check from the tariff revenue, and we'll see if they do any other types of bailouts, or you know, like Trump has been saying he wants to bail out the farmers. It just, you just need these narratives, and if people know, okay, I'm going to get a stimulus check at this point, yada yada, you know, they start turning euphoric, right? So something to think about. But to your point, you know, to play devil's advocate, I think we're in a little bit of a light recession. Obviously, the mortgage housing market not doing too great. There's been a lot of layoffs, but again, people can flip on a dime. If you say, hey, you're getting a $2,000 stimulus check, right? That's going to send a lot of waves. Thanks, Mr. T. I appreciate it. Sunlight says it's in California. It's 8:22 a.m. Thanks for tuning in so early, Sunlight. Crypto Chevy says, what's up, Tony? I'm patiently waiting for this banana zone. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you, Crypto Chevy. Like I said, I got skin in the game, man. I got financial plans and things like that, right? And look, the setup is there, though, right? We continue to get confirmation. As slow and painful as it may be at certain points, we continue to get confirmation. Yeah, what's happening with Bitcoin? Yeah, Bitcoin. So here's the thing, right? Like I said at the beginning, with the RSI and the daily chart shows we're entering that overbought zone. However, it's not super overheated. So we could run up to maybe 128 or something and then pull back. But just anticipate a pullback, because what has history taught us? Any type of strong move like this, you need some sort of pullback. Markets don't go up in a straight line. Again, people get triggered when I say that, but I'm like, bro, just look at the chart. Nothing goes up in a straight line. After major pumps, you have pullbacks. That is healthy. That's normal. doesn't mean the bull market's over, right? Will Pepe flip Shiba this cycle? Man, I have no idea. I don't know how to judge meme coins, honestly, Vatican. I don't hold any meme coins, you know? Motorbike Mike says, Tony, love you, bro. You predicted that XRP hits $10 before SWE. Still taking that bet. Okay, let's see where. Wait, did I predict it my video? I don't remember saying that, but let's see, right? At the end of the day, I just want all of them to go up so I can make money. that is why I'm here, regardless of which one hits it first. But let's see. I still think XRP does it ahead of time. Here's why. There are like 10 XRP spot ETFs in play, right? XRP's higher on the market cap list. There's maybe one SWE ETF, but it's not the same demand, right? So I hold SWE, so I'm not bearish on it, and I want it to go up. But I think XRP has a stronger chart if you look at them together. But one could argue, hey, SWE, has a higher. Let me actually pull it back up right here. I should do them side by side, but being a bit lazy. SWE has a lot of VCs backing it, so hard to tell. But like I said, I hold both. I want both of them to go up. I just want to make money. So that's my thesis on it. Okay, Gene says, what do you think about GRT? Is that the graph? Let's see here. GRT. Let's use this Binance chart. Wait, no. Is that right? GRT. The graph. Okay. Okay, so it's currently at 8 cents. I don't know much about this project. It was launched in 2021. It looks like one of those altcoins, like I mentioned earlier, that needs the altcoin, the rotational liquidity from Bitcoin for the total altcoin market cap to get going. Because right now, it's down pretty bad. It's not far off its bear market bottom. You want to see more strength. Now, to be fair, it did rally in Q4 a bit, but didn't break into those higher fib levels. So, it could get challenging. But again, as always, depends on your entry price. If you bought down here at 5 cents or whatever it is, and this thing rallies to even 40 cents, you're making money. So your entry price is, it's very important. So Gene, over the years, I read different books. I took some courses, and I'm by no means, a great technical analyst, but I know enough to navigate the markets, right? And at least I'm a macro. I'm not a day trader. So and there's certain coins and things I'm still learning how to navigate and treat them on the charts, especially like new coins that are launched. It's easier when you have a coin that has a lot of history, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, because you can see more of the structural patterns. You can know how to overlay some of these signals and metrics, and it's easier, right? So I listen to a variety of different people like Alessio Rastani, the Michael Pizzino and his brother as well, the Pizzino brothers, if you want to call them that, and a bunch of other people who do Elliott wave analysis, Fibonacci levels. So I've been studying a lot of that stuff over the years. Thanks, DJenny. Appreciate that. Brother Crypto says, what do you think about Flare? So I am a Flare token holder, so I want to see that project do well. Now, there wasn't an investment in this project because I got the airdrop from being an XRP holder. and I've been staking and delegating, I should say delegating, to earn more reward. So my hope is that this thing can break, the 10 cents mark this cycle. It's possible it can do it. No guarantees, of course, no certainties, but I'm hoping it can break 10 cents. That'll be some nice change in my pocket there for not having to invest in this token, just getting it from an airdrop. So the good thing, guys, though, it's been showing strength when we had the major rallies. So in Q4, you can see here, it rallied off the bear market bottom. In April, it did rally up, not as much strength, but still looking good. I think this is a decent chart. There's not like a big L here, like it lost a ton of value and that type of thing, right? So I think it can rally upwards. My hope, once again, it can hit 10 cents or higher. XP Market, great to have you. Guys, before we continue, please check out our sponsors. Uphold, a great place to buy, sell, and stake your crypto assets. Check out Trezor. They make beautiful hardware wallets that make it easy for you to self-custody your assets. They were the creators of the self-custody wallets and seed phrase setup. I'm a user of the Trezor Save 5. Use the code ThinkingCrypto, all one word, ThinkingCrypto, to get 5% off. Check out Proppy. I'm a Proppy token holder. They are leading the charge with putting real estate on chain. Check out VeChain, one of the top layer 1 enterprise blockchains, getting adoption from many big brands and companies around the world. And I'm a VET token holder as well. Check out iTrust Capital, where you can get tax benefits for investing via an IRA. And you can also use their premium self-custody account, or I shouldn't say self-custody, but premium custody account, where they use Coinbase, custody, Fidelity, digital assets, and much more, which institutions use. So I would say second to self-custodying, this is the safest option because they're using that institutional grade custody, which has insurance and much more. And folks, if you use my link, you can get $100 funding bonus. Of course, check out my newsletter. It is 100% free. Link will be in the description. Sign up, guys. I put a lot of the chart data and all the macro factors and much more in this newsletter. So if you want to learn more, you want to reference something to see where we're at in the market, this is a great place to check it out. I also include some of the top news items, so you can subscribe to this. It goes out once per week, so you're not getting spammed. I'm not sending out garbage every day. I try to think about this and carefully plan it out and send out the newsletter to you guys. Also, check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you every aspect of crypto. So if you want to expand your knowledge, check it out, guys. It features a lot of commentary from experts in the industry, so no other course offers that. So check it out, folks. All right, want to answer some more questions here for you guys. Crypto Chevy says, I see ETH to 5K this week. That would be awesome. Crypto Chevy, like I said earlier, with Bitcoin looking like it's getting overheated, again, the RSI, not my feelings, okay? The RSI is in the overbought zone. So what have we seen when the RSI gets into the zone? Simple pattern recognition will show you that, right? That a pullback is due. Not a massive correction, not the bear market, just a healthy pullback. I know some of you are probably like, Tony, why do you keep saying that? Because I kid you not, you should see some of the comments I get. People get triggered. You're saying it's a pullback, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, bro, calm down. This is just the data, right? So with Bitcoin potentially cooling down soon, you have the rotation into the altcoin. So to your point, Crypto Chevy, ETH could certainly rally to 5K. We are not far from it, obviously. So, and the chart looks good here. One great thing about ETH's daily chart, look at that. The RSI has tons of room to run. It is nowhere near overheated, and the bulls are in control. The MACD shows that, right? So the stars are aligning here a bit for us. So I like what I'm seeing, and patience is the key, my friends. David O'Brien says, hey, Tony, price targets for SWE this cycle. So I pulled it up earlier, but let me just pull it up really quick again. Let's see. So I am a SWE token holder. Like I said, there's a lot of VCs backing this thing. There's been a lot of liquidity. It's been showing a lot of strength. So I think we could see, honestly, $8 to $10. It's certainly possible. We're not far from there. With the amount of strength this coin has shown already, its chart looks really good. You can see that compared to some other coins, after it pumped, even though it pulled back, it didn't take it all back. You know what I mean? It didn't wipe out all the gains. And it's above the 200-day moving average. It's high on the fib levels here. And I think it has room to run up. So we could see, between an $8 to $10 sweep price, honestly. So we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Motorbike Mike says, Motorbike Mike, thank you so much for the $4.99 donation. It says, last one, bro. Rank these 8 crypto from the best to worst. ROI, XRP, SWI, HBAR, XLR, Ondo, Aero, Render, and Virtual. So in full disclosure, I hold XRP, SWI, HBAR, Ondo, Render. I don't know about Virtual. I don't know about Aero. Is that Aerodrome? And I don't know about ROI. Best to worst for ROI. Excuse me, I read that wrong. Okay. Are you saying, like, Motorbike Mike, if you bought now, what would be your ROI? Because again, your entry price is so important. But I'm assuming you mean like now, if you're buying now. So let's see here. I think one thing's for sure. Let's agree on one thing. There is upside here for all of these coins, right? Because we are not at the top of the market yet. So there's upside. Now, buying XRP here may not be the biggest return. You are going to make a return, but you should have been buying down here, 14 cents and things like that. And then HBAR, I think, is a similar situation because both XRP and HBAR have rallied significantly off their fibs. So the time to buy HBAR was at 3 cents, 4 cents, not here per se. Again, not saying you're not going to make money, but you're not going to get the highest return if we're looking at percentages. Let's look at Ondo. Okay. Yeah, Mike, I'm going to need like time to go through all of these things because on the fly, I need to see, all the different percentages. I need to put it in a spreadsheet, that type of thing. Let's see. Ondo, maybe, Ondo may be in a better position to give you more gains because it's not as high on the fib as XRP and HBAR. What's the other one? XLR. I don't hold this token, but let's see. So XLR was just launched last year. So it's possible this could give you, again, because there's other factors as well, but this could give you maybe a greater return from an ROI perspective versus coins that have rallied significantly and are higher on their fib levels, if you know what I mean. I hold Render. I'm hoping that the AI narrative catches up. Render is almost similar to XLR, where there's room to run here, but narratives, adoption, and these things do play a factor, but we shall see. What's the other one here? Virtual. I don't know what this is. So again, this is where you would need to I would need to like do research and map this out in a spreadsheet and look at other factors. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. So let's see here. What's a good, okay, US dollar chart. Yeah, I don't know much about this. This looks like it was just recently launched. So hard to tell here. Hope that's helpful. But like I said, Mike, you can email me and I can try to continue this for you and put it in a spreadsheet, if you know what I mean. Body Art Studio 13 says, Swift and XRP, will this happen? Well, Bodyguard, I don't know if you saw, Swift is going to use Linea, and is one of the tokens I've been telling you guys that I want to potentially invest in. I don't know who came up with this. Swift will use XRP. You got to be careful. This is where, earlier I said, again, no disrespect, and I'm saying this for the point of education. Be careful with people who are sharing conspiracy theories, who are just making stuff up because someone shaked a hand with someone or they're in a photo with someone doesn't mean that they're having a partnership or there's gonna be adoption there, right? So just be careful, guys, because look, Joe Lubin, CEO of Consensus, confirms Swift is gonna be using Linea, which is an Ethereum layer 2. And I don't know who came up with Swift using XRP and Ripple and much more. I don't know why Swift would use Ripple unless there was some partnership that was announced, right? Because let's be honest, Ripple and XRP are a competitor to Swift. They've positioned themselves that way. So they would have to be, you go work with your competitor or you would try to acquire them. I don't know. So that's, again, just where are you getting this information from, right? Motorbike Mike says, Tony, any upcoming appearances in or around Philly or South Jersey? So Motorbike Mike, I just call you Mike. I was thinking possibly this quarter, maybe November, I doing a crypto meetup in New York City, down by Wall Street, where I usually do my recordings for the in-person interviews, and invite people out, for free. Not charging anybody anything. Just come out. There'll be food, drinks, and things like that. So stay tuned on that. I'm still trying to plan that out, and I want to time it when the market's doing well, so it's more fun. So I'll let you know, guys. I'll let you guys know about that. I'll obviously do a big announcement. Excuse me. Freddie says VeChain price prediction. Okay, let's look at VeChain. Once again, I'm a holder of the token. So VeChain, again, no bias, man, because I hold it and I want it to pump, has been suffering a bit as far as not getting the strength that we want to see. The good thing we saw, though, is in Q4 of 2024, it did rally off that bear market bottom. I that was a good thing, right? But you can see it took a lot of it back, and we want to see more strength here. But again, this could be one of the coins that's waiting for the massive liquidity to hit the total altcoin market, right? For this to start going nuts, and then you see the rising tide that lifts all boats. So that's where we're at, honestly. My hope is that it finds the strength and we could see it break the all-time high of about, 28 cents, maybe go up to 50 cents. I know that may not be something you want to hear, but we need to see strength. We got to see the strength, right? Right now, we're not seeing a lot of strength. All right, looks like we got some spammers here, man. Okay, that was on Twitch. Okay. Google user says, hi, do you think the financial banking coins could go longer than the regular bull market? What do you think about ISO go live final day for all institutions to get into the new system? No, Google user. All of these markets, as stated at the beginning, are following global liquidity. As global liquidity starts to top out, they will all start to cool down. They don't exist in their own bubble, so to speak. It's all one macro trade, right? So like I said, stock markets been hitting new high, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, gold, right? Crypto, of course. So regardless of the narrative or who's getting adoption, the markets move by liquidity. Now, I know some of you say, well, what about the adoption news? Didn't you just say that, narratives and these things matter? Yes, they do. They can help bring in more liquidity in a bull market. But all markets follow the cyclical pattern of liquidity the Fed tightening and easing cycle, right? That's why we saw in I think what was it? Jerome Powell came out in December of 2022, said we're going to raise rates, and the tightening cycle happened. And then what happened after that? Stock market, crypto all started correcting. So regardless of the narrative or who's doing what, this is all following cycles. So that's why you got to have a healthy balance between the data and the narratives. You don't ignore the narratives. They're important. They help drive markets, right? And people coming in. But try to do a narrative of this bank bought this in a bear market. It's not going to do anything, right? Because you're in a downtrend. So this is, you got to make sure you balance all these things. Jacob Covington says, so this is the end. Bitcoin 90% crash will start any minute right now. I'm not sure where you're getting that from, Jacob. This is not the end. I don't know if you're joking or whatever, but it's not the end. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up soon. It's been over an hour. Once again, check out our sponsors, Uphold, Trezor, Propy, VeChain, iTrust Capital. All the links will be in the description. Check out my free email newsletter. Sign up for that, guys. Doesn't cost you anything. And I pack a lot of the data points and things I'm sharing here in these newsletters every week. Check out my book on Amazon and my course on mycryptocourse.com. Folks, again, bull market's not over, but as mentioned, Bitcoin on the daily RSI entering the overbought zone. Anticipate a pullback, not a huge correction, not a bear market, just a cooling down and then rotation to the altcoins. Okay, so just be prepared for that. We want to be educated. We want to be prepared for all scenarios. Now, I know Bitcoin could grab a bit more liquidity and pump a little bit higher before doing that. So maybe it just goes straight to 132K, right? Again, I'm just giving you the different scenarios because we're talking probabilities here. No one has a crystal ball. So maybe Bitcoin is like, all right, I don't care, going to 132K, then pull back. Or starts pulling back soon, build support levels for the next leg up to 132K. So just be prepared for that. Yeah, my pleasure, XP market, excuse me. Thanks, Buckles. I appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. CMDR says, is it banana or not banana? We are in the banana. We are in a bull market. Just it runs in phases. It doesn't go up in a straight line. And you have to understand that market makers and whales are playing games here with the cyclicality of the market, right? They want to shake you out and then have you FOMO buy back in. That's the nature of the game. But one thing's for sure, we haven't hit that parabolic zone yet, like we've seen, right? Where it's like green candle after green candle going kind of nuts. I think we got a taste of it in Q4 of 2024. That was like the biggest move we've seen so far that had everybody going a little, getting excited. But look at these parabolic moves from 2020, right? Just it's like straight lines up almost. Yes, there's pullbacks there, but we haven't seen that level of parabola. My goodness. Even 2017, right? We haven't seen that yet. We've been in that slow, steady grind up using Bitcoin as the measuring stick now. If we look at the total 3 chart, which is the altcoins, this excludes Bitcoin and stablecoins, slow grind up. No parabola yet, but we're going up, right? We're still in the uptrend. So this is why patience is so important. But there will be a point when we hit that parabola phase and you're going to see, boom, just like, again, like this vertical line, right? That's coming, but you got to be patient, guys. I know many of you want that right now. I do too, but patience is the key here, guys. What did ST says? Wait, what? Am I banned from this? You're not banned. I can see you. Just there's a lot of questions. Things are, let me see if I can go back here. Okay, sorry, I missed your question. Hey Tony, do you think we reach at least 8 to 10 trillion overall market cap? And do you think there's a chance we pump into 2026 with QE likely starting next year? Thanks. So, SD, I had shared I think was it a Fibonacci or Elliott wave? I do believe there is a possibility we get to 8 to 10 trillion. 10 trillion being the ideal scenario of all the factors coming to play. But let's say we play conservative and we go 8 trillion. I do believe that realistically, based on, let me pull up total market cap real quick. I'll do the chart for you guys. Total crypto market cap. Here we go. Okay, yeah, it looks like I have a chart. Excuse me, a Fibonacci on here already. Okay, so guys, using the Fibonacci model, right? Using the peak of the past cycle down to the bottom, look where the 4.236 extension takes us, over 10 trillion. Now, we're not guaranteed to get there because there are factors that affect the market, obviously. But could we realistically shoot up to 8 trillion? Yeah, I think that's possible. We're really not far. It's just doubling what we're at right now. We're at 4.22 trillion. Doubling that to 8, I don't think that's hard. Bitcoin going up, altcoins going nuts, and much more. I think we can get there, honestly. And you asked about there is a chance we pump into 2026. So here's what we're going to have to look at. Where does Bitcoin local top happen in Q4, right? Or, well, let me make sure I phrase this correctly so I don't confuse you guys. Okay, let's say Bitcoin has a very strong rally and it starts to cool down and have a correction. What we're going to start to look at is all the other factors I shared at the beginning of the stream. Pi cycle top indicator, MVRV, Bitcoin whale activity, USDT dominance, Bitcoin dominance. Where are these things at? And are they flashing that the top is in? Because at that point, we'll say, okay, yeah, that was it. Or if they're not flashing, we'll say that's a local top and there's more to go and it could bleed into 2026. So this is why we also want to look at global liquidity, to your point of QE, because if the government start injecting more liquidity, whether it's traditional QE or, what the US has been doing with injecting liquidity from the Treasury General account, we're going to look at global liquidity. Is this continuing to rise or is it rolling over, right? So this is where we have to keep monitoring the data and these things, and you have to tune in because if things change, we'll have to adjust accordingly. But right now, we can only use the data we have as of today. Yeah, for sure, Freddie. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. I'm wishing you all the best of luck in this bull market, that you make incredible returns. Again, make sure you look at multiple data points, right? I shared a lot with you guys today. If you missed anything, you can go back to the beginning of the stream. We covered a lot, and we're going to continue to follow these metrics and try to call the top zone, not the exact top, because I don't think anybody can do that unless they have a time machine or a crystal ball. But we're going to look for the top zone where we see things are starting to signal, hey, it's time to take profits. It's time to start laddering out, right? Because we're getting to that point of the blow up top. And I think some of you being here for maybe 1 or 2 cycles, you'll start recognizing it as things get euphoric and you start seeing the signals flashing. So again, subscribe to my newsletter and make sure you're subscribed to the podcast and everything so that you don't miss out on these things, guys. Like I said, I'm with you. I got skin in the game. I want to make money. I got plans. So I'm going to try my best to get this right. I'm not saying I will get it perfect, but I'm going to try to get it as close as possible to perfect, right? And don't just listen to me, right? Don't cult follow me. I don't want a cult. I want you guys to be educated. Listen to different points of views. I listen to Alessio Rastani, the guys at Merlin Trader, the Pizzino brothers, and much more, many other guys. So I tried to make sure I get different points of views, and measure that up to what I know, at least to where my knowledge level, so that I'm as educated as possible about what the hell's happening in this market. All right, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Take care.